This lesson we're going to be covering how we can add a Google Script web app into our Google Sites project.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
So it is going to take a little bit of coding, and this is just going to be a really basic introduction how we can add some HTML, customized HTML from a web app. So going into the drive, go to New, and then under More, select Google Apps Script. This will open up the App Script editor. I'm going to customize and compact the controls. By default, we've got a function called myFunction. So let's get rid of that, and we'll create a function called doGet. And what doGet does is this is a default function that's available within Google Apps Script that helps us render out the web page. So it's a must-have in order to render out the web page. There's also doPost, so that takes post requests. doGet takes the get requests that are coming into the web URL. The script that you want to run immediately when the user comes to the web page, you put it within the doGet function. You also need to add in a project, and I'm going to just call this first site as well. And this is also available within my Google Drive. So once you create it, it will appear within your Google Drive, just as the Google Sites did. So the doGet, and then within the doGet, we want to return HTML service. There's a number of different classes that are available within Google Scripts that you can utilize. And this one, we want to use create HTML output and using string HTML. So I'm just going to add in hello world under h1 tags and then close off the h1 tags. And that's it. We can go ahead and we can save the project. And now to publish as a web app, go under publish, deploy as web app. And this is going to give you a URL. Set your share permissions. So if you are using it within the sites, you want to allow anyone to be able to access it and use sites permissions to control who sees the content. That's usually the best way to go, but you can also specify who has access to it individually. So going into your sites, and once you produce it, you're going to get a web URL. So just copy that URL. So this is that big long URL. It's going to end in exe. There's also a developer version. And as you're developing your web app, you can check out the code that's available within the latest code. But in this case, we're only looking for the web URL. So go ahead once again and copy that web URL. And once you've copied the web URL, you can go over to your browser and enter the URL, and you're going to see the content is being output. So this is coming from an apps script. And Apps Script gives you a bunch of flexibility into the content that's being presented within the web URL. And in order to bring Apps Script into your Google site, you can bring that in under Embed. And with Embed, it's asking for a URL. You can embed any URL that you want, and you can also add in HTML code directly from HTML code. So if you have a code editor, you can copy and paste it and have HTML code appearing here. So if we had hello world under h1 and inserting that, you can see that that inserts the HTML as hello world. And also we can embed the URL. So going back to the URL, just paste the URL into want to embed and hit insert. And now this will insert it as well as another section within your web page. And the same thing with the other sections, you can move them around and position them as needed within your web layout. And then don't forget to check within the preview to make sure that everything is being displayed as you want it to display. You can also go to the tablet view, just make sure everything is good there. And then of course, desktop view. And once you're satisfied with it, so once everything is ready and as expected, you can go over to publish and then copy the URL and then go over to your website and preview the URL and make sure that the changes are as you need it. We've got the web app as well as the HTML directly posted within the page. So that's how you can add in more dynamic content and share it to the web really easily by using Google Sites.